Hayley Williams and James Blake being independent artists has changed my brain chemistry. If you have been hesitant to step out of the status quo in your own life, this video is for you. It has been such a beautiful journey to watch them carve out a new life for themselves, and it's just such a beautiful, stunning reminder that it really is okay to step outside of the stereotypical landscape of success and create something brand new for yourself. Even if you have no desire to be a huge recording artist, there are steps and there's a process to creating the life that you want and to making changes in your life. Let's hop right in and start with James Blake announcing that he is now an independent artist.
Hello, I'm coming on here to make an announcement, which is that I am now officially an independent artist, which feels crazy to say, but it feels like it's bringing with it a lot of opportunity to connect with you lot.
I was doing something that was a massive risk to me. Like I jumped off a very, very secure ship.
Yeah.
So it was scary, and it wasn't, because even as established and as kind of privileged in some way as I am now, in the process of it, I also pissed a lot of people off. I'm impulsive, and I did something very impulsive, but I think it was the right thing.
I feel like that's lesson number one. You cannot escape the human process of stepping out of the old and transitioning into something new. And here's more proof. Listen to what he said in an interview. I left my label. I left my management. I left the whole system and just took a big risk by setting up a new team with an indie label who hadn't previously worked with an artist like myself. And then I started to assemble the rest of the team. Even understanding what a team looked like was something outside of my reality initially. And leaving the standard ticketing system to use direct-to-fan methods, there's so many strands to this. And it was a huge gamble, not knowing whether those things were going to pan out. Sometimes you have to leap. I feel like a lot of what he described is the reason a lot of people do not try new things. The uncertainty, disappointing people who have become very accustomed to the old version of you, wanting that security, even if it's an illusion and doesn't really align with what you want. But even with those factors present, he still made the leap. And I feel like that's such an example that even in the midst of uncertainty, a little bit of fear, feeling really nervous, you can still make it happen. I feel like that's the get you gotcha. Even with those feelings present, that's not always a sign that you do not need to continue or you don't need to give it a try. I think those are natural feelings that are going to come up when you are about to do something that requires courage. Something else that stuck out to me is how James Blake attributed a lot of the success of the new album to his nervous system and having the right people around him.
Well, I made the record with some of my best friends and collaborators, and so I think that's probably why it feels bright and colourful, because that's just how I feel when I'm around them, and where we recorded at Real World and at Conway and like my house in LA when I was living there. I've had some amazing times making this record, like some of the most fun I've ever had making music, to be honest. So while life itself was probably quite up and down, I think the process was amazing. But this album isn't really about friends. I made it with some of my best friends, and that's just, that makes me look back on this record, and when I'm performing them songs live and all that stuff, like it just feels this huge, I get this huge sense of warmth from it. And the band is now just all my best friends. So yeah, it's just kind of all the people I hang out with anyway, just playing the music we all made together. So it's incredible.
Y'all, build with the people around you. It is so tempting to climb. And I'm not saying to not climb. You will climb. But having the right people around you is key. It's key. It really hit me when he said that he looks back on this project with warmth and how this is the most fun he's ever had making an album. Y'all, your people will circle around you and what you make. But the next part is what hit me the hardest. This is why you have to have the right people around you.
Yeah, I did. I did have moments of doubt. but I had people around me who really brought me back in and who really showed me the things that I could be proud of, and that I don't have to be something else. So I really credit, honestly, the people who I made this record with as, you know, a huge reason this record sounds the way it does, and you know, their names are all over it. You know, it's like the dream team.
Y'all, watch who you hang around, especially in times of transition. I don't know if people always think about how delicate transitions are. They really can be fragile. You will have days of doubt. You might panic and freak out about the steps that you've taken. You might forget your own power, but it's your friends who will pick up the pieces and remind you. Your circle will not allow you to sacrifice the vision. Like, y'all, listen to these quotes. As a friend of mine put it, the greatest success would be a calm nervous system. And if that's what I end this record cycle with, then I would have considered this year an amazing success. Do not underestimate the power of a sound mind. Beginning the work of regulating your nervous system does not require a huge budget. You can start that today. And also, let's insert an essay about metrics here and allowing them to be more flexible. Don't be so rigid with the metrics. Sometimes the true success is the fact that you finished a project with calm and ease. Not the money, not the award, not the project, your mind in one piece. There's a limit to your love. So here he was speaking about building his team. I think the most challenging aspect has been building a team that makes sense, starting again basically from scratch and assembling a team of people who I feel very safe with and who've taken a mental load off me. Y'all, turn his mic up. The team is vital. He said that the most challenging aspect of completing the project was building the team of people around him. Not the notes, not the vocal stamina, not building the team. It can be the difference of you having ease and feeling calm and having its opposite. And here's the thing too, like I said earlier, having the right team around you during a transition where you're already feeling a level of nervousness or anxiety or stress, again, having the right people really can be make or break. Also, the challenge is in finding the team versus making the thing. When your team is right, everything else can flow. You know what I mean? Here's something else he said. I pushed the record back by a year, so that really took a lot of pressure off. But to get to that point where I pushed it back, I put myself under so much pressure. I think it allowed me to zoom out and then zoom back in and make something like the actual track Trying Times. That was made after I pushed the record back, and then I felt relaxed enough to channel. It feels very rare that I can channel anything if I'm stressed. Let me read the last line again. It feels very rare that I can channel anything if I'm stressed. Y'all, it's that nervous system. It's the nervous system. And also, and this is the journey I have been on as well, when it comes to deadlines, is it self-imposed? As in, oh, I absolutely have to get this out by November 1st. Who said that? Could it just as easily be November 2nd? You see what I'm saying? Sometimes we put all of this pressure on ourselves, and then that disrupts the thing that we're trying to make. So it's kind of like working against yourself. Is this timeline and pressure self-inflicted, self-imposed? Can I actually change my mind? And the answer is often yes. And I'm going to say this with all the kindness in my heart and lean in real good when I say this. If your goals do not involve stress management, it is not sustainable. Like giving himself space created the space. And catch this part. After I pushed the record back, and then I felt relaxed enough to channel. Like sometimes you're waiting on the result of making the hard decision before making the hard decision. He pushed the record back, tough call, and then he felt relaxed and calm enough to do what he came to do in the first place. You see what I mean? And this leads me to my next point. I think that one of the major benefits of having the right people around you is that it allows you to connect to what you're doing and who you're doing it for.
Performing live might be where I'm, at my most authentic and natural. So I think I always want to do that. I mean, you don't have to be a streaming artist. That's one of the myths, I think, of this industry, is that you have to do a billion streams and that's how you're going to be successful.
The number one thing that I heard is to divorce yourself from there being this one and only way to finding joy and success. Give yourself permission to show up in ways that allow you to work with yourself. You're always going to feel more like yourself when you show up for the things that you want. And that's one of the best ways to see yourself at your best.
A lot of the way I sustain myself comes from the more direct, especially now on this album, it's come from directly, supplying records to fans, or going to, like when we've done these sort of pre-sale things for this record, it's all been direct. There's not been any middlemen at all. So I think if you're an artist starting out, it's all about personal connection. So it will always be true that if you take control over the means of contacting your audience, then you can build something truly sustainable.
And here is the word of the day. Focus on the people who are already fiercely supporting you. I know it is so easy to vie for the attention of people who are not looking, who are not watching for whatever reason, but there is already a whole world of support waiting for you. And I feel like that translates really well to a life practice of maximizing what you do have instead of focusing on what you don't have. Maybe that audience right now is 2 or 3 people, but the energy of creating for them, like imagine maximizing on the energy from the people who have made it very clear that they support what you do, they love what you're making, they're engaging with what you're making, creating for them, having a conversation with them, as opposed to fighting yourself and trying to create for people who are not watching. Something to think about. And let me read these to you because I feel like James Blake really drives it home. For context, he's talking about how he's feeling as an independent artist versus when he was under a major label. I currently feel, and I'm lucky to have this, I currently feel prioritized. I feel creatively free. I feel supported and I feel engaged in a way that I haven't for many, many years. I feel like any success of this album would be a success for a team that I truly love and care for, rather than just a success for me. I feel in touch with every part of my business and aware and holding the information I need. That is something that hasn't really happened before. So the other thing about the people that I've surrounded myself with now is that they want to share that information rather than gatekeep it. They work with me rather than isolate me. And here's another one. So was it a success? Well, yeah, because I'm doing exactly what the system at the time, posting on Instagram and hoping for the best, was prohibiting me from doing, which is accessing people directly, talking to them, giving them updates, not having to rely on an algorithm, and fully giving people early access to everything has changed everything. And I feel like what sticks out to me about this is that everything comes with something. Like, yes, he had the huge corporate setup that comes with being under a major label, and he didn't have the access to his fans and community that he has now. So gentle reminder, don't romanticize any one version of life. Don't romanticize the mountaintop. I think being too rigid about a specific version of success can make you miss all of the opportunity that you do have. And here's one more. And then there's the fact that I have a real community, people I actually see and know. When I come to the shows, it's the same people. I know them by name and we speak after the show. We had a Vault listening party in LA and they're all there. These are people that I speak to regularly. That's something that I had never had before. I think we've not just proven that model, we've shown how much connection you can create and how much more meaningful it is when you engage with people in that way rather than through 50 middlemen. Something to think about. And y'all, that's just half of it. We haven't even started talking about Hayley Williams. I'm alive. I can feel you all on. Oh, that's not Paramore. I think that's Flyleaf. Oh my gosh.
The end of the contract happened and I could see it coming. We were finishing This Is Why, and it was like the light at the end of the tunnel. But strangely, as I got closer, it felt more daunting. And I think it's because there was so much I hadn't really ever processed about everything that we've just talked about.
Are you feeling overwhelmed right now? Maybe you know you're about to take the leap and there's a lot of daunting energy surrounding that. Again, it is not a sign that you are making a mistake. It is a very common feeling when it comes to forging your own path. The fact that you're feeling a bit of overwhelm is not a sign to stop what you're doing. It is an invitation to get curious about the overwhelm that you're feeling.
I'm not in the system anymore in that regard. It just feels kind of like, I don't know. It's really felt super DIY, and I've gotten to do it with like some of my closest friends in the world who I also have great creative partnerships with. And that's been my favorite part. It just feels so nice to like, I know every single person that like touched this project. I feel a personal connection to everyone. And I see their gifts and their talents and like their passions woven into it, which, it makes it more meaningful.
Do y'all see the same thing that I'm seeing? It's the energy, having the right people around you, because that can allow you to feel safe enough to experiment and stretch as an artist. I don't think that it's coincidental that both artists are talking about the power of having the right people around them in a time of transition.
I don't need to make more fans. I've had such a cool career.
It's an anti-commercial move to release it this way.
Thank you. What a great compliment. Because I just feel that subculture right now, it's always been important, but I think we really need to dive into community and what we're the most passionate about, because that's sustainable stuff. When I think about the issues that I care about politically, socially, I gotta have energy around them. So who am I connecting with? Who am I speaking to? I kind of feel like putting out the music this way allowed me to sort of speak in code to the people who actually give a shit about Paramore. But I want to just go straight to the source and to like tap into the people that are there. They're already there, and we've been having a conversation for 20 years. I needed to feel like I also got to be the kind of artist that I wanted to be before a major label found me.
I love how she speaks about her audience already being there and using the opportunity after leaving the label to kind of narrow in and focus on her audience. Yes, this chapter is a huge leap, but it also feels like a return to the thing that prompted them to start in the first place. Like I saw James Blake talk about on Instagram how he's never laughed so much making an album. But I wonder if it is this realization after having it all that it isn't everything. And there's still another journey that can be taken even after major success. And so I say again, are there areas where you can focus on the people who are already showing up? Maybe it's not 10 million people. Maybe it's 4 or 5. But what would it feel like to create with them in mind? To create as a response to their enthusiasm, their encouragement, their support. I think Hayley Williams spoke really beautifully about this.
I'm trying to do things this time around in a way that can communicate to the people who care. I don't feel like I owe the wider world an explanation of what like my real life. I just feel like the people that care are going to read into what I'm saying. And that's where I put that part of my life. That's where I put the things that I feel, the things I'm struggling with, my losses, my gains, my just all of it.
In the music.
Into the music. And I think that the right people are like, they're there to catch me, And that's like that's what I feel this moment in my career. I'm finally willing to like let that happen. And we have such a special relationship with the people who care about Paramore. And this record is for them. But this is my chance to also emulate the music and the artists that like made me want to do this in the first place, none of which were big artists.
Again, focus on your people. You never know who you're inspiring. It really is about relationship, and it's about community. It's about the people who connect to what you do. Talk to them. Well, I think I know.
But I'm learning that I really need the healthy expression of it, of like moving my body and dancing and sharing and like singing songs with a bunch of people. It's like it's such a healthy way to move through life for me. So I'm excited to do it. I need it.
I love that she sees it as a healthy expression. And as a vocalist, it really did change my brain chemistry. Like, performing is not just an opportunity to try to reach perfection. It's an opportunity to experience community. Even though she's the one performing, she's the one that they came to see. You know, that really did blow my mind. Performance or whatever it is that you're trying to make is not just an opportunity to try to be perfect. It's a chance for you to build community, but it's also a chance for you to experience community. Beautiful.
We're just going to keep getting older, and I want to be an artist, you know, until I die. And I think that's going to look 1,000 ways.
I think that this is the perfect closing statement for this video. Allow your journey to be yours. Allow the experience to be yours. Allow yourself this space to evolve. Let the picture change. Only lock in to what feels good to you. I thought this was such a beautiful example of reinventing yourself and also reintroducing yourself. And I hope that it's reminded you, no matter what you want to try, no matter what you want to make, that you really do have such a huge voice in the conversation that is managing what you have. What would it feel like to create with what you have? How can you build community with what you have? Y'all, I'm telling you, you have no clue whose life you could change. Start there. No matter your budget, no matter your platform, no matter how much visibility you think you do or don't have, go make the thing that is in your mind to create. But that's it. Love y'all. Hey, yeah, yeah. How did we get here? Well, I think I know you so well. Yeah. How did we? She went off on that. Hayley. What's my other song? All I wanted was you. They put up chain link fences underneath the biggest bridges. Biggest bridges. They put up chain link fences underneath the biggest bridges. They posing Christmas cards with guns as big as all their children. I barely made it, but I did.